All right, so in this next video, I react to a video that was sent to me by one of my friends who's an avid conspiracy theorist. He typically sends me right-wing conspiracies, not because he's a right-winger. It just seems that right-wingers tend to delve in conspiracy theories more so than left-wingers do. But this one is an actual left-wing conspiracy theory. So I'm going to go ahead and cue this up, and I'm going to do my thing. And so let me just before I get started, I want to say like I'm not a believer in conspiracy theories. I like for things to be corroborated before I buy into it. But I always wonder like why aren't there more left-wing conspiracy theories? So here's one. So let me go ahead and get it up. It's up and let me react.
Trump didn't survive an assassination attempt. He survived a publicity stunt, and I can prove it. He said a bullet went through his ear. Let's be clear, a 5.56 NATO round fired from 130 yards away travels at 3,000 feet per second. That would shred flesh, fracture bone, and leave a crater. But there's no hole, no swelling, no bandage, just a light scratch. Just ask any trauma doctor. This isn't survivable without real damage. The shooter was 130 yards.
So I want to react to that part about the damage to his ear. Like that is very questionable. Like dang, like how could he got actually even if he got grazed, like you would think it would have done more damage that probably took off the whole top of his ear. So it's questionable, but to me, that still doesn't mean that this was a some type of publicity stunt.
Yards away. And for that rifle, that's the perfect range. US Army standards expect near pinpoint accuracy from 300 yards away. He had elevation, line of sight, and time, and yet only one fatality, one ear graze, and no Secret Service reaction for 5 full seconds. This wasn't a failed assassination. This was a successful setup. Trump didn't duck. He didn't run. Instead, he faced the camera, raised his fist, and yelled fight like he was on WrestleMania. That's not instinct. That's direction. Real assassination attempts create chaos. You can watch.
So he's talking about Trump's reaction to quote unquote being shot. And it did seem like a little bit like, okay, if somebody's shooting at you and they missed, you don't know what happened. All you know is you're standing there doing your thing. Someone shot at you and they missed. I would think you would try to stay down for cover because they might keep shooting. That might not be the only shot. They might have more shots coming, or there might be other shooters. So for him to kind of jump up and do like a fist in the air type thing, it just that didn't make sense. To me, it didn't make sense. It's like, okay, I would only do that if I felt like I was safe. But who knows what it feels like to have that adrenaline going through you. So I can't say just based on that that is proof that this was some type of stunt. It's very suspicious though.
Reagan's, Ford's, or even JFK's. Trump's was rehearsed. Now let's talk data. Before the shooting, Trump was tanking in the polls, especially with independents, coming in at around 40%. But after the shooting, he jumped up over 50%. And in some swing states, he made double-digit gains overnight. That's not coincidence. That's narrative control. He needed a reset, and this gave him the hero arc that he couldn't earn on his own record.
Okay. I don't even know where to start with that one. So yeah, you can see that it did create a bump in the polls, but that wasn't a guarantee to happen. It was no guarantee that, let's say, even if this was a stunt, there was no guarantee that that was going to cause him to bump up in the polls. Some people could have taken that as that he's just too divisive to be president.
Attempts like this aren't anything new. In 1933, Hitler staged the Reichstag fire, blamed communists, and used it to seize emergency powers. It worked. In 1999, Putin staged apartment bombings to justify the war in Chechnya, and his approval ratings doubled overnight. Authoritarians manufacture attacks to paint themselves as the victim. It rallies their base, silences critics, and justifies authoritarian control. If Trump were truly a threat to the system, he'd be gone, but he is the system. And this attempt was the performance of a man who's run out of policy and needs mythology. So this wasn't an attack, it was a story written, directed, and starring Donald Trump. Tag someone who still thinks this is real. Let's talk facts, not feelings. Trump.
Yeah, I do agree that Trump is the system. Like Trump kind of has this reputation for being some type of political outsider or not being a part of the swamp. He is the fucking swamp. When you look at Trump coin, when you look at, the market tanking, then all of a sudden all of the people around him making money, like right as he ended the tariffs and the market went back up. So Trump is the swamp. But the thing about this whole assassination attempt, is someone actually died. I don't think that if let's say if this was a hoax and someone died, I would think that some type of an investigation would have kind of gotten to the bottom of this. I would hope that that would happen. So I think there are a lot of things that took place that are suspicious for sure. But to me, like just seeing a number of things that are suspicious, seeing a poll number jump up, it doesn't equate to having proof that this was like some type of stage or fake event. It's just definitely suspicious and it raises more questions. That's my opinion on that.